Hey, howdy, and hello, ladies and gentlemen. Echo here. So, in recent times, Valorant agents have switched up the way we think about the game. Clove, for example, redefined what it means to die and the value of dying with their ability to smoke from the grave as well come back to life. Gecko contains an entire arsenal of creatures that could be utilized to apply pressure on the opponent in a way we haven't seen with other agents, and Neon has completely revamped the movement system to allow players to experience the game in a completely new fashion. However, as the universe of Valorant pushes farther into the future, I want to take a step back. Back to a time we didn't have household names like Reyna or Killjoy, where we didn't have birds and concusses and grenades being thrown at us all at once, when images like this weren't the norm. Back to a simpler time. And luckily, we have artifacts from this era. Scrapped agents are agents who were developed but were never fully implemented in the game. Some of the concepts discussed while in development would then be converted into later agents, but some were dropped entirely. Due to these two reasons, I thought it would be interesting to take a little bit of a deep dive into these scrapped agents. It might uncover the origins of your favorite Valorant character to play, as well as give us some insight onto what we may see in the future. Without further ado, let's take a look at our first scrapped agent. Our first scrapped agent is Crusader. Built to be a tough and overall strong character, it's no surprise that Crusader was later confirmed to be an early prototype for Breach. Crusader was meant to have a sword, as depicted by the agent icon, and is also predicted to have a shield due to data mined audio files. You know, I find this idea of a blade really interesting as a PC utility, because in Valorant and shooter games in general, we see melee weapons and melee kills as sort of troll, right? A fun thing to do when you're super bored. But the Riot Games developers saw that as a key aspect in one of their first ever released agents for Valorant. That's crazy. I was trying to think of ways that we could see this plausibly used in Valorant, and the only way I could really think of it would be similar to something like the Fortnite blade, where you would get a boost to your HP, maybe overheal similar to Reyna, and then you would also have maybe 2 dashes that would recharge similar to Jet while you had it out to compensate for that distance between you and someone who is armed with a gun. Now, before we go to our next scrapped agent, let's dig into that a little bit more, right? What would happen if Crusader was in modern day Valorant with this sword, with this shield? Let's look at some alternative hypothetical history here. For one, I want to talk about Chamber and Crusader, right? I think these two agents would counter each other in a really, really unique way. One well-placed shot from a tour de force could shut down a blade-wielding Crusader, but a quick-moving and skilled player could be swift and agile enough to not let that happen. If the audio files had been a handheld shield as many popularly believed, then if it was as strong as, say, the shield gained from ISO's double tap, it may have rendered Chamber's tour de force useless, just like KO's ult makes Cypher trips completely pointless. This would be so cool to see in pro play. Imagine someone like John QT on Chamber playing against a Demon 1 Crusader. All I gotta say about that. This whole idea also opens up the very real possibility that we could see more ultimate weapons like jet knives, like the tour de force, coming out from future agents. Which would be crazy to see if we start seeing knife-wielding giants come out. I don't know.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Yoru! Wait, Shatter? Who the heck is Shatter? Now, our next agent is Shatter. And Shatter's kind of a unique case among the scrapped agents. You see, Unlike other agents where they were cut pretty early on, Shatter wasn't cut until internal playtesting at Riot Games. And as a result, we have much more fully fledged completed content compared to the other scrapped agents. So I have a lot to show you here. Not only do we have the agent icon like we did with Crusader, but we also have not just one, but two full body models, as well as ability icons and ability names. In fact, they were so close to completion for Shatter, they actually had audio files. And I managed to find them on an old tweet from a data mining account called Valorant Express. Take a listen. Now you might ask, why Echo? Why wouldn't they put Shatter into the game if they were so complete? Well, they kinda did. Shatter is the blueprint for Yoru. Shatter's decoy and clone explode became Yoru's fake out. However, Shatter's clone explode and decoy are different from fake out. While both agents have cloning abilities, Shatter requires two abilities for one purpose, while Yoru only needs one ability. However, Shatter's clones explode on command, versus Yoru's require an enemy to shoot them. Perhaps the most interesting part about all of this, though, is when you look at Yoru's buff. You see, if you're an OG player like I am, you'll remember that when Yoru was released pre-buff, Yoru's fake out was just footsteps. No clone, it was simply used as an auditory distraction to allow you to sneak up on your enemies. It wasn't until after the buff that Yoru got the actual clone aspect. Perhaps Riot Games did what we are doing right now, looked back at Shatter, and adapted their abilities to the modern day. Now, our third and final scrapped agent is Joules, and Joules is the total opposite of Shatter in the fact that while we have all this great content to look at, with Shatter, Joules has nothing. There's not even an agent icon I could find. Joules is shrouded in mystery. However, I still wanted to bring Joules up because they are a scrapped agent, which means they should be included in this video, and also they are extremely important to the development of our modern agents. Joules is a really unique agent in the fact that, unlike every other agent in the game, Joules has 5 distinct pieces of utility in her kit. These include Lockdown, Drone Dart, Blink, Seeker Bolt, and Shock Grenade. All of Joules' pieces of utility are connected to a modern-day agents. Well, other than one, but we'll get to that later. Her Lockdown was the base for Killjoy's Lockdown. Her Drone Dart served as the prototype for Sovazawa Drone. Her Blink would later become Jet's Tailwind, and her Shock Grenade became Sova's Shock Dart. You may have noticed that I left one blank. From what I could find, it seems that Joules' Seeker Bolt was actually the remnant of a Seeker ability Killjoy was supposed to have, but that was also scrapped. With the amount of power in this kit, Joules would be uncounterable, unstoppable. And not to mention, Joules would be the only agent with 5 unique abilities. With all this considered, it's no surprise that Joules was cut as early as she was. However, I think it's important that we acknowledge Joules' existence. Without Joules, we wouldn't have 3 of the most well-known agents that we have today. To wrap this video up, I want to look back over each of the scrapped agents and discuss whether they would be viable or not in today's Valorant. First off, we have Crusader. I think Crusader would 100% be viable in today's Valorant and could be one of the most unique and interesting agents to play yet. As for Shatter, although Shatter and Yoru's abilities are different, I think they're too similar to have both agents in the same game. However, you could replace Yoru with Shatter in the future, but that's not my call to make, and that's a topic for a whole nother video. Finally, we have Joules. I don't think Joules would be viable in today's Valorant. Not because they're too weak, no, because they're too strong. Joules would be one of the most annoying agents to play against, and would overall just not be fair nor fun. As a result, I don't think Joules should or will ever be fully put into Valorant. Well, that is all for today's video. I made this project as a way to teach some real video game history, but do it in a fun and interesting way, and I feel like I accomplished that with this one. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.